What's up? This is the one and only bass guy, Gringo Loco, and you are listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
This episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler is provided by Cottage Spring.
Listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved, provided by Cottage Springs. Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler. Mike's not here this week, but you know who is here? The champ is here. The brand new Barrie Wrestling 3 Pistols champion, the man who gave me no voice for 3 days after the show, Barn Burner Van Landon. What's up, brother?
I am here, and look what I have here.
Ooh-wee.
Big shiny, big 3. The 3 Pistols is here. And I can't wait to bring prestige back to this title. Oh my goodness. I want to apologize in advance, and just so you know, the e-transfer is out for the medical expenses for the sore throat medicine after Saturday nights, but I do appreciate you leaving everything that you had in your lungs out on the dance floor at the FLCC, because boy, did I ever have goosebumps, especially watching that replay back. In the moment, I was in absolute shock, but boy, did you ever kill it Saturday night, PCO.
Thank you. But you killed it too, man. I want to talk about that really quick. We're gonna get into a bunch of stuff here. We're gonna get into your title win. We have a little fun interview with Haley J that I'm gonna throw to as well. We got our Cottage Spring punch out of the week to get to. And you and I are going to chop it up about the world of professional wrestling right now, because after watching the Barrie Wrestling show on the weekend, I was inspired, man. I've really loved wrestling the last 2 years, like really loved it. Like I'm finding like what I had again when I was in high school, and like I don't know, I've just got this thing going where it's just like it's so good and it's so fun to be a wrestling fan. And then watching this moment with you, my friend, and the Barrie Wrestling and the crowd, like it just, man, I was in such a good mood after. And then it was my birthday after, so we all came back to my house and we celebrated, me turning 40, and we celebrated you with a title win, and got to hang out with Holden Albright a little bit, which is always a treat. So cheers to you, my friend Holden. But you know what? We're gonna do a big Cottage Spring punch out of the week this week, because the Cottage Spring, well, first of all, I have to do the throw. Let's do the official throw. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, your Cottage Spring punch out of the week. And now, the Cottage Springs punch out of the week. Find your favorite flavors at cottagesprings.ca. All right. So, as I crack open my OG Cottage Spring peach here.
Yes.
I'm actually doing a first for the Cottage Spring punch out of the week this week.
Oh?
I'm sitting down with the man who is my Cottage Spring punch out of the week.
Oh.
My Cottage Spring punch out of the week is Van Landon winning the Barrie Wrestling 3 Pistols Championship. So what I want to do first is I want to talk to you about the match and how you felt with the match. And then I want to talk a little bit more personal after that. So give me a little Van Landon right now, and give the people at Cottage Springs and their wonderful peach drink that I just love this little Van Landon 3 Pistols Championship. How you're feeling?
Well, first and foremost, there was only one way to celebrate the night after winning this championship, And ain't this a shoot hoot? I go over to old TCO's house, get myself a Cottage Springs. What was that kind? It was the first time I had that, and it
I
was
think you
my
had the blood
favorite.
orange or the
Blood
grapefruit.
orange. Blood
Yeah.
orange was exactly it. First time trying it, fan now of it. Cottage Springs is my preferred drink of choice. I love it. And
I'll tell you before we get into your moment here. The best deal that you can get for Cottage Springs is the 24 pack at the liquor store. And
there it is.
it's the peach, the cherry, the blood orange, and the grapefruit. All four of them. And it's for the best bang for your buck, right?
I'm into that. There you go. And so, absolutely, like, there's no better way to end the night with that, but getting into the nitty gritty, getting into the violence behind the smile, you know, myself versus Von Vertigo on paper, Van Landon is the underdog going into that fight. And I absolutely knew that. I knew the odds were against me leading into it. Von Vertigo is somebody who's extremely experienced, extremely well traveled in experience as well. And so for me, it gave me a lot of opportunity to scout. And that's exactly what I did. Von Vertigo is somebody that back in the day, I used to make fan art for the guy because I was a fan of his back in Barrie Wrestling's, early days before I was a wrestler. Now that I am a wrestler, who's a better measuring stick than the man that I looked up to? The man who I say was a blueprint for me and seeing the way and for him paving the way for guys like me. That's exactly what Von Vertigo did. And going into that match with that entire sort of electric atmosphere in the FLCC arena, the moment was magical. The match didn't start out as I would have liked it. The rules were that there was be no outside interference. And so, what do you know? Rajan Hasher, before Von Vertigo even makes his way to the ring, attacks me inside the ring, starting me at a disadvantage, which I'm gonna take a little blame for in not being fully expectant of that or being ready for that as a possibility. I took the stipulation for its word and let my guard down, I suppose, while waiting for Von Vertigo to show up. But I didn't let that sort of keep me down. Fighting that match, it was tough. And fans, I strongly encourage you go out of your way to check this one out on IWTV. Use code Barrie400 on sign up if you're not a member. But find this show, seek this match out because I leave it all out there. I get dropped on my head on the cement at one point. I get thrown into the stairs at one point. There's a point where I get, and I mean, you may have seen the footage if you follow myself or Barrie Wrestling on Instagram, you may have seen some of these clips, but there's a point where I got kicked in the nuts so hard from a top rope double axe handle. But I'm not even going to let you know what happened there. You have to seek this one out for yourself. But when it was all said and done, Van Landon, 1, 2, 3 over Von Vertigo. Uh, and I earned this, the Three Pistols title. I said it there. I said it in the moment. All I've ever wanted, and this was for all of the Barrie Wrestling fans. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, that one was for all of you who helped make that even more special. The fuel to the fire that is Van Landon is the Barrie Wrestling faithful. And that is one heck of a way to win my first championship in Barrie Wrestling.
And that is also one heck of a Cottage Springs punch out of the week, brother.
What?
All right. So your title win was my punch out of the week. Van Landon's title win was my punch out of the week. But I wanna pull back a little bit here and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you just about what this whole day was for you. Because we talked a lot leading up to this show, and we talked a lot the day of the show, and we talked a lot after the show. So we've had almost a week now since the show. When you look back on it from a personal standpoint, is this career highlight for you? Is this like, tell me some of the emotions when you think back to this?
I mean, absolutely. This to me is as meaningful to me, and I'm gonna pull back this curtain real wide here for a sec. But back when I was in high school, I was an amateur wrestler. And of course, following the footsteps of the likes of Kurt Angle before me, with the sole intent of becoming a pro wrestler one day, I learned how to mat wrestle, and boy, did I ever get good at it. And one moment that stands out as sort of a lifetime moment that I will never ever forget was at the in my area GBSSA finals, which is essentially you're winning the conference finals and you're gonna make your way to the championship finals, is essentially that same thing. And it was in that tournament where I decided I was going to wrestle up a weight class, because in my team we had a lot of people in the same weight class, and I knew that they would win over me. So plain and simple, I wrestled up a weight class to be in a different weight division to try to better my odds at making it to the championship in my home gymnasium on a lunch break. So the whole gymnasium was filled and all of my friends were there, 30 plus, going wild. They watched the gold and silver medal match take place between me and another student from a rival school. And after going the entire distance, I finally win by points after a grueling match, after the whole crowd was going wild, all the students. The news was there filming it. It was a lifetime moment for me. And so, winning this Three Pistols championship to me is equally as monumental. This is a lifetime achievement for me. I could never wrestle again, and this moment would be mine forever. To have a lot of my very close friends, my family there, my grandparents were there to see this. It was something that, you know, is special beyond belief on so many different levels. It's something that I work so hard for. Um, and when I say worked hard for, let me be straight with what that means. That means uh getting my license, getting a vehicle, earning money to attend a wrestling school, driving from Orillia to Hamilton
That's like a
twice
that's like a three
weekly.
and a half hour drive, man. four
Oh
hour
yeah.
drive. Yeah, that's a big drive.
I drove 2 cars into the ground doing it. I don't recommend it, people. But then again, those are some old junker cars. But hey, you do what you gotta do. When you have a dream, you have to chase it. A famous Daniel Bryan quote that still sticks with me almost every day I think of it is, if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. And that's exactly what I've done, sacrificing uh group gatherings, family things, relationships, all of it for the passion that is professional wrestling. Professional wrestling, my therapeutic release, or not release, relief My therapy is professional wrestling. Being in a wrestling ring
Mhm.
is my comfort zone. Fighting people is my comfort zone. For Van Landon, all of this circumvented into chasing my ultimate goal, and that is success at the scale of Barrie Wrestling, my home mecca. It's like the Raptors winning the NBA Finals in Toronto. It's that feeling of home pride, the overall event, atmosphere, all of it. It's something that will never, ever be forgotten. It's
Yeah, man.
something that I'll cherish forever. And
It it was a moment. It really was, and even for me personally, I did something that I've never done at a Barrie Wrestling show. And I don't know if you'll remember this or not either, because you were pretty in the zone. But right before your match started, I walked backstage, which I never do, and I found you and I gave you a hug. I said, "I love you, buddy. Go out there and kill it."
true, you did do that.
And I've
And
never
I
done that
don't
before.
remember that
But
until
you were like focused, but it was right the semi-main event just started, and I ran to the back quick, and I just because I knew it was a big night for you. It's not a just a gimmick, that you were the fan in the crowd. Like that's a shoot. You were a fan in the crowd. You were Barrie Wrestling is your home promotion. That's where you came up. That's where you did your training seminar, and it's not just me, but we're all so happy for you that you got to have that moment, man. And like take away all the storylines and take away all the wrestling. Like you're a good guy that works hard, and people wanted to see you succeed. And for you to have that moment in front of your friends and your family, like that's super cool. And it was felt. And the online support was felt. And Barrie Wrestling's notorious, and I'll keep pulling the curtain back. I don't give a shit, right? I work for Barrie Wrestling once a month, and I love them to death, and I'm not giving away any trades here, but it's notorious at Barrie Wrestling when the main event ends, that place empties out before I can even say thanks for coming, and it didn't for this show. And I think that was 95% because you had this moment. And, it was also Australian Takeover's last show, and I think some people want to say bye to them. But even still, with that, I think and not to take away from ATO, who are going to be on our show in the next couple of weeks, I hope we're talking to them. Great guys, pleasure to work with them. But this was your night, and I'm pumped up for you, man. I'm proud to call you a friend, and I was just really happy for you, and it was awesome. It was a really awesome moment. It was a really awesome night for all of us.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And to hear people there firsthand sort of let me know their reactions to it all. People saying they had goosebumps, people saying, they were ready to come over the guardrail and fight for my behalf during some moments of the match. It's very special knowing that this that thing that I was obsessed with as a kid has grown into something so much more, something that allows me to give back entertainment, the same entertainment that I've cherished for so long, that I'm able to now create these same moments for new fans and all the people in the crowd to forever remember.
Well, it's funny too. Like, and for me, this was like the TCO character that the bringing out, which isn't really much of a character, but I over embellish sometimes to have fun. But we were all having the running joke, me and Diamond Jim and Sean and you, oh, this is. If Van wins, you're gonna have your Samantha Irvin moment with Cody, right? Because I always put you over with the big intro and stuff. And I was like thinking, leading up to this show, I don't want like any attention or anything, but I want this to be a good moment. What can I contribute to it other than just yelling Van Landon? So I was like, I'm gonna like sell watching the match. Like I'll react and like, be into it because I've done that in the past for bigger matches in Barrie. I didn't sell. I just got invested. Like I stopped. I forgot that I was a ring announcer for a little bit, and I was just into it. And I haven't had that a lot in wrestling either. So like for me personally to watch that, and I think it's because our friendship has formed well over the last couple of years, and but I was just so invested in the match, and the crowd was into it, and it was cool, man. Like even for me, I guess as a TCO performer, even though I'm not you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say like I was part of anything, but like I lost myself in a moment in being a ring announcer, and I've never had that before, which was cool.
Man, I love hearing that.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was a fun time. I'm done putting you over now, right? You're probably gonna drop the belt next month, you bum.
I better not.
No,
I better not. I'll be fighting with all my might with this.
No, it was cool, man.
Side.
It was, I honestly, like, I know I'm a Barrie Wrestling mark and whatever, and we always put Barrie Wrestling over in the show, but I really do think that if you do have IWTV, this is worth checking out. And it's not just me putting over my friends and putting over the company I work for or work with. And it was really a cool wrestling moment. So, especially if you know the backstory behind it, it was, Barrie Wrestling does some cool stuff, and I'm proud to be a part of the team. Where do we segue from here? We're gonna maybe you know what I got? I got a little treat for our fans. And
what
then
do you got?
We're gonna talk a little wrestling after this because I was pumped up. But a couple months ago, I keep pulling these interviews out of the archive that I just haven't got just timing never got to them. I had a chat with this this person on this little show on Netflix called The Wrestler. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not. It's kind of a big deal. And this lady happened to be, I think, the star of the show, in my opinion. Little Hollyhood Haley J. Fantastic human being as well. I got about a quick little 5-minute interview with her, and I think I want to spoil our fans, our listeners today, and bump in a little Haley J. What do you think there, Mr. Landon? You want to hear some Haley J?
I would love to hear some Hollyhood Haley J.
All right, well, we're going to throw to Haley J, and then me and Van Landon going to talk a little wrestling.
All righty, Tyler here on behalf of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. Mike is not here, but I've upgraded this week for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting bushy over here.
I'm the Bushetto with Spatty, Hollyhood Haley J, the one and only.
See, I had to let you introduce yourself because I couldn't do it justice.
I knew you were going to mess it up.
I would have. I would have.
Fine.
That's my gimmick. I'm bad with
You're
that.
horrible?
I'm horrible, but that's all right. You know what's not
Why
horrible?
would they send you to interview me?
I know. Mike, we need you immediately.
Now.
You know what's not horrible, though, Haley?
What?
The Wrestler on Netflix.
Yeah, it's because I'm in it.
You are in it. You shine in it.
I'm the star.
You are fantastic
People
in it.
paint me on doors.
Right? So I got to know, are you happy with the final product of the show? What did you think watching it back?
I was very happy with it. I think that it actually humbled me a little bit, helped me grow up. But at the end of the day, I'm me, and now everybody knows who Hollyhood Haley J is. So I'm happy.
Absolutely. And the response has been incredible. They really put a good shine on you in that. We saw the best of Haley J. We saw the worst of Haley J in there. And you said it humbled you a little bit. When you go back, what are some things that you feel like you've learned about yourself after watching that?
Well, I learned that I still had a lot of growing up to do. And there's a difference between, being professional and unprofessional and certain things like that. More about the wrestling business within itself. Because I was doing things that I thought was okay because I'm me, Hollyhood Haley J. But in wrestling, it's not okay. So I learned that.
I got to ask, too. Cameras around you guys all the time. What was that like for you to get used to? Was that awkward? Were there any moments where you're like, guys, like, come on, like, what was going on with that?
Yeah, it was actually really different for me. There were probably a couple times that I had been rude to them, I would say, but they didn't put that on there, so shout out to Greg.
Shout out to Bray, indeed. Now, I got to sit here. I got to ask you, Haley, you were scheduled for a WWE tryout. It did not happen.
Right.
Any updates on that? Could we potentially see you back at the Performance Center?
Yes. I have to be cleared first. Whenever I get my doctor to give me the okay, I'm up and away.
Well, we did see you on AEW a fair amount lately. How's your experience been like with AEW? Is there anyone maybe pushing to get Haley J on that TV show weekly? Because I think we're ready to see it.
You know, I don't know if there's anyone pushing. I feel like I got a couple people back there pushing for me. Shout out to them, but you know, it's all hit or miss. I just got to keep showing up and showing out, and then I'll get the opportunity.
I want to ask you about Al Snow and just how important he's been for you.
He's here, isn't he?
He's here somewhere. I don't think he's within ear's reach right now, but how is it just having that mentor with Al? Being
No,
there?
Al's awesome. Don't even let me lie. He's the most annoying person ever, but he definitely turned me into the superstar that I am. So I love Al.
I love that this show showed so much of you. We saw Haley the mother, we saw Haley the wrestler, we saw Haley the daughter.
Do it all, yeah.
Very, very compelling stuff with your mom in there. How has doing the show with your mother done things for you guys together? Like, now I see you guys tag teaming tonight. You had a great match with Alexi and Jody.
I think it was awesome. I think I hate Jody Threat. I hate Canada. That was for tonight. She hurt my. Can I cuss on here? She hurt my ass. I don't appreciate that. But I love working with my mom. She's my mother, and I know when I'm old and looking back on this, it'll be awesome. So
yeah, it's got to be cool to have documented, you know. And I thought it was very touching, the moments with you and your son. I love that we got to see everything. So I got to ask you the last question I want to ask you here, Haley. When you look back at everything, you know, over the last couple of years, do you have some moments that you're holding close to yourself that just make you smile?
yeah. Anytime I'm in the ring with my son, I think that's foreshadowing because he's going to be a third-generation superstar. And also, just anytime I'm in the ring with Mom, that death match was awesome. It's all on TV. We'll have it for life. So.
How was the aftermath of the death match, Haley? What was recovery like for that? Are we going to see another death match in the future?
Probably not.
That's the Count It Out exclusive right here. Haley, welcome to Canada. We love having you here.
Thank you.
The weed is legal here also, so.
Weed's legal.
Hey, let's go with that. On behalf of Mike, who could not be here, I am Tyler, and of course the bougie Hollywood Haley
Get my
J.
door. Somebody painted this. That's awesome.
You guys have been counted out.
The Bougetto baddie herself, Haley J. I'm really looking forward to doing a proper interview with her. I became not friends, but like I have a very good relationship with her mother, Amazing Maria. And we talk periodically on Instagram, and stick around. We're working on something here. So
hey,
you might
I
be
like
seeing
her.
the tag. You might be seeing the tag team of Maria and Haley J are back on Counted Out for a proper sit down.
Let's go. Let's make it happen.
All right, let's talk a little wrestling, man. Let's start off.
Wrestling?
Yeah, we can talk about
Okay.
wrestling, eh? All right, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the Arkells or the Tragically Hip?
Let's talk about the weather.
You want to talk about the weather? Tornado warning tomorrow. I get to work from home.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not good up here in Barrie.
No, not good.
I guess as you're listening to this today, so if the show didn't go up on Thursday, it's because my house got blown over. Let's hope that didn't happen.
Let's hope that didn't happen.
No, I need to know now. I know you. We talked a little off air about the Three Pistols title, named after a Tragically Hip song. You're a Hip fan, right?
I am a Tragically Hip fan.
So what's the go-to? I can never ask somebody what their favorite Hip song is because it's impossible, because like it just changes all the time, I'm sure. But what's some go-to Hip songs for Van Landon?
So I can put a hard favorite on mine just out of pure like emotional response, and that's Bob Cajun.
Beautiful
like,
song.
That one messes me up, and I'm getting teary-eyed thinking of it right now, literally.
Yeah, it resonates. You got a story behind it, eh? You don't have to tell it on there. That's okay, but
it's good times. The Hip really just knows how to make sounds that sound really nice together, don't they?
Did you ever get to see the Hip live?
Never.
Oh.
Big missed opportunity. My avid concert going time period and traveling was right around the end. And unfortunately never got to see them live, but was fortunate enough to be at a very awesome bar and watching that final performance surrounded by a lot of great people. And that was my equivalent to seeing a true live performance. But no, unfortunately, never got to see the true live performance. Would have loved to, though.
You can't put it into words how incredible they are live. I saw the Hip about 15 times live at least. And I the last tour that they did, I went to 4 of their last like 12 shows.
Really?
I went to 3 shows in Toronto and I went to one in Hamilton.
Ooh.
And I cried every time he played Ahead by a Century, which is weird because like that's not what I love Ahead by a Century, but it's not like an emotional song for me.
It's got to be that riff.
It just hit though. It hit. I got a
It's
couple. I'll tell you a couple cool hip stories real quick. Let's talk about the hip a little bit. Fuck it. Sean Gibson. I
yeah.
love this shit, right?
Yeah, hey, I questioned if we were talking about wrestling, and no one's mad now. We're talking
No.
about the hip.
If you don't worry, give us 5 minutes. We'll talk about wrestling. We're going to talk about
Yeah,
who killed WCW, and we're going to talk
yeah,
about NXT.
we
Don't
get it. Dom
worry.
Mysterio and Liv Morgan. We get it,
Ooh,
okay?
let's
We get
go.
it.
But we're gonna talk a little hip here. We're gonna talk a little hip because I love the hip. Um, the very first Tragically Hip concert I ever went to see was in Belleville, Ontario.
Let's go. I'll be there in just over a week.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
You know you're working?
Not yet, but I will likely be defending this beauty as well.
Ooh, we got the Kenny Omega belt collector going on over here.
If it happens, it happens.
The hip show I saw, they were touring World Container still at that time. So that was my first hip show. And then, like, fast forward, the last shows happened. I went to all 3 in Toronto, sat with Gord Downey's family the second night in Toronto because I made a wrong turn to my seat. I was supposed to turn left. I turned right, and I was side stage, and I was front row, and Gord's daughters were behind me, like, whole family. So he played the whole show to me, and I got set list from the sound tech after, like, big moment for me, big moment. And I was like, okay, like, I got Hamilton coming up after this. I think I'm gonna road trip to Kingston for the last show. I think I have to. So I went to Hamilton with the same guy that took me to my first hip show in Belleville. Shout out Mario, great dude. And when they were doing these last tours, like they would play 4 songs off of like a bunch of different albums. They would just pick like 5 albums and play 4 songs off each album. And you know what album they pulled out for the only time? World Container. So I saw the hip with Mario, my friend, and a couple other people that we all went to our first hip shows together. And they played World Container. I was like, I'm done. That's my closure.
That's a great way to ride out into the sunset.
Yeah, man, the hip are the best. We'll do a dive deep off air about a little more hip stuff, but because this is a wrestling podcast, I guess. But Grace 2, by the way, my favorite hip song.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. I've lost my voice more to that song than I have introducing you to the ring. There's your wrestling segue. All right, let's talk some wrestling. You're a big WCW guy.
I do.
WCW 2000. You and Pretty Ricky, by the way. I love Pretty Ricky, and I was so disappointed when I heard those words come out of his mouth. I'm with Van Landon, and I love WCW year 2000. So that'll be a 3-way dance that we got to do.
Trust me, I was losing my mind when I heard Ricky's on Team WCW 2000.
Are you watching the Vice documentary?
I know that it is on, but is it not a multi-part series?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to wait until it's bingeable.
That's a good call. Because I watched the first week and I was dying. I haven't watched the second week yet.
I get itchy. And when they teased me like that. I need it all in one shot.
It was so good. It was so good. Bret Hart, MVP of the show so far for me. He's fucking hilarious. He's just such a bitter fucking grouch about WCW.
I got to see the clip of Goldberg and Bret talking about the kick.
See, I haven't seen that yet.
I saw it on Twitter. It was a recording of the screen or something, and they talk about the kick that ended Bret Hart's career. And yeah, no, this show has piqued my interest.
A friend of the show, Steve Bourne, summed up the first 2 weeks as week 1 is like the rise of WCW, and week 2 is how Goldberg was a shit worker. That's how he summed it up. That's how the vibes of the show went. But did you see the YouTube or the Twitter clip of Bret Hart when he just was like, they looped in all the times? He was like, they're an idiot, fucking stupid. What the hell is that? I was dying laughing. But the best Bret Hart quote so far, the whole thing, was in episode 1. They're like, can you give, if you were to give a eulogy to WCW, what would you say? And they show like Booker and Nash. Like Nash was like, "Thanks for the money." Booker was like, "Oh, holy whatever." And it gets to Brett. He's like, I would probably say, "Fuck you, you pieces of shit." It was something so ridiculous. Like it was so funny, man. Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart.
I love Bret Hart too.
He's my favorite, man. My favorite of all time, I think, Bret Hart.
He's probably up there for me as well. It's tough putting him at number one, but between him and Owen, they're in my top 5. It's
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Dragon, Bret and Dragon, I think are my top 2. Love me some American Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Man, sitting in that crowd and you were in the same building as me when the final countdown made his return.
Oh my gosh, goosebumps.
As I'm a huge Ring of Honor guy, like massive, like that time period when he was the world champion. That is tied for my favorite. That is my favorite period of watching wrestling. Like the in ring, the storylines. Gabe Spokowski was unreal. Like his booking was unreal, and and then to be in the arena for the first time in like 15 years at the final countdown played. Man, that's one of my favorite wrestling moments ever.
Incredible. I remember the hairs on my arms just standing up, like complete chills, like the whole people around me. I clued in instantly.
Me too.
The second it started playing, I clued into what it was.
Me
Not
too.
everybody did around me. So I sort of had like it was like a premature celebration.
Yeah, I popped
I'm
before the pop.
losing it.
Me too.
Yeah,
I stood up.
before
I'm like, it's the fucking final countdown. My brother's looking at me
literally.
like I've lost my mind.
So was I. And then finally, and
Yeah.
then that's when the general population gets it.
See, because
But
I love that little spaceship noise. That's what I always call it. Right?
that's exactly what I knew.
And
I
I was like,
knew it was coming.
oh, it's here. But we went to, my brother and I went to I guess it was a Smash show at the Rec Room before, I think.
Nice.
And we caught the tail end of it, and Hoovy was supposed to be there, and he missed his flight or something. He didn't make it. But like Matt Cross worked, the Bollywood Boys worked, Psycho Mike was there. Like it was a good time or whatever. And I told my brother at that show, I was like, "We're here at the final countdown tonight." He's like, "You're meant like, what are you even talking about?" Like, and then boom, final countdown. That show was cool, man. That was one of my favorite live shows I've ever been to. Like, think about all the people that we got to see wrestle on that show. Like,
Yep.
then let's just talk about North America. Like, MJF, biggest guy in the company at that time. Sting,
Yes.
amazing. Jericho, guy's one of the best of all time. That was
Okada.
Okada, Tanahashi, Ishii, Suzuki, Naito. Like, man, that's a loaded card. That might be the best live show I've ever been to.
Honestly, top to bottom. In terms of best live show I've been to, like it's up there. Yeah, it's hard to top Kenny and Will.
Yeah, that's the best match. Like for me, and I want to hear your take on this after. The 2 best matches I've ever watched live were Hogan and Rock and Kenny and Ospreay.
Hogan and Rock, I am like I don't think there could be more jealousy in my body right now. The fact that you can confidently say that and mean wholeheartedly that you were there in that building. I wish
Got the chair in the basement, WrestleMania 18 chair.
I wish with all my mights. For me, it's tough. Like, in terms of the big shows, well, NXT Takeover Toronto, DIY FTR.
Third best match I've ever seen live.
The Revival. That one was it for so long.
Yeah, that match was unreal.
Until Kenny and Will.
That's a great card from top to bottom too.
Top to bottom, that one was unreal. And oh man. And I'll talk this one too. Roadblock 2015, Dean Ambrose and Triple H.
I gotta go back and watch that. I gotta go back and watch that match because like we were talking about that on the weekend too. You guys may or may not have poured a spot from that match into it that I didn't remember, and I need to go back because I was there.
I was there too, and I remember the feeling that it was Ambrose hitting the Dirty Deeds 1, 2, 3. And I jumped out of my seat in the Rico Coliseum, and I was so far in the nosebleeds that above me was like just like office tile ceiling, and I jumped and I Mario punched it and knocked it out of place. And
That's amazing.
I was like, uh-oh. But I'm like, wait, what? Why is the bell not ringing? And then boy, did Triple H ever have heat with me on the way out of that building.
The guy, eh?
He got me. He had me bit. I jumped out of my seat thinking he had won that match.
I got a cool poster from that card. I got the event poster signed by Triple H and Ambrose.
You did get that. I remember
But
seeing that
I
for
forked
sale.
out. I forked out for it.
Hey, it's H. Why wouldn't you? That's awesome.
Did you go to Survivor Series the next night after the NXT show?
I did go to Survivor Series the next night.
Goldberg and Lesnar was pretty sick live.
Goldberg and Lesnar, in hindsight, I enjoy it. In the moment, I was disappointed because for whatever reason, I thought I would get more than what they gave me. In retrospect, I do really enjoy it, and I love that is what we got. We got Goldberg's return.
Well, that's it.
Insane.
That's why I liked it, because I got WCW Goldberg.
And that's
what I came
now
up
why I
on.
appreciate it. That's now why I appreciate it.
That's why I loved his match at SummerSlam against Dolph. Like, everybody shits on that match. Oh, you buried Dolph. Like, listen, Dolph can lose to me and be fine. Like, he's the best.
The only one that I was like, come on, was Saudi against the Fiends. That's the only one that I was like,
yeah, that was stupid. Here? That was stupid. Goldberg doesn't need to be like, there's a spot for Goldberg, even to this day in wrestling. Come out, spear, jackhammer.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all we need.
It. Yeah,
you know, like that's it. That's what people want to see.
Jackhammer is so sick.
It's a great move, man. Like, the rise of Goldberg back in the day was so wild. Like,
I'm
so wild.
He didn't get a DVD when he returned, like a 3-disc DVD. Like
I'm sure. Did they not put one out on him?
I know they did 2 for Sting, and I got both of them, but I do not recall ever seeing a Goldberg one be released.
Yeah, Goldberg had a lot of heat for a while, right?
Yeah, he did.
He still does too. It's Goldberg. He's not my favorite guy on the planet, but I always like to see that clip of him and Riddle together. And I just think Goldberg comes across as such a weenie in it.
That's when he was like, "Don't call me bro,
I'm not your bro." And he's like, "Okay, bro." Like, it's like Riddle's like, "I would crush you."
Yeah.
And but Goldberg thinks he's doing like he reminds me of like Tito Ortiz, where they think they're the toughest guy in the room all the time.
Tito, oh boy,
but they're just kind of dorky. Like, they're just dorky guys. Like,
yeah.
But I will say, Goldberg, we did a list years ago, and I got a lot of heat from Mike on it. We did the top 7. I did the top 7 rookie years, like for people in their rookie years, and Goldberg was my number 1.
No, he's got to be.
And he was like, "How did you not give it to Kurt Angle?"
Dude, there's a lot of reasons why you don't give it to Kurt. Yeah.
Kurt had a great first year. He was my number 2, but
doesn't Kurt get tapped out by Taz in his debut at the Rumble? Like in his first year?
Yeah, but then he went on to win the World IC, European, and World title all within his first year.
I didn't know that was all within his first year.
Yeah, Kurt debuted at Survivor Series 99. Tapped out to Taz at the Rumble, so like 3 months later.
Yeah.
Then he won the European title the next month, the IC title the same month, lost them both at that Mania, and Finn, so like a month later. Then by the end of the year, the month before his year thing, he beat The Rock for the world title.
Eesh. But he didn't go on no undefeated streak like
Bill. You know what my reasoning I gave it to him was, too? It wasn't because of the undefeated streak. It was the fact that in his rookie year, when wrestling was in its biggest boom period ever, and to this day, still ever, when I was in high school, everybody wore wrestling shirts. That's how popular wrestling was. That's a shoot. And the biggest star in wrestling was Steve Austin and Bill Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
He was more popular than Sting, than DDP. And you do that in your rookie year, in the biggest period of wrestling, you are the number 1. Like,
yeah.
Hands down. And he won the world title, too. Like,
Angle was never that. Not in his rookie.
Angle was never the face of any company, right? He was the
ever.
best wrestler always, but he was never the face of the company.
And Goldberg was that. You
Yeah.
don't get, what was it, 50,000 people in the Georgia Dome for
Yeah.
Goldberg Hogan on a Monday Nitro. You don't get that.
So let's do armchair quarterback here because you're a big WCW guy.
Let's go.
Monday Night Wars are going on. They're in full swing. Raw's getting the momentum back now. They're probably about 50-50 at this point. WCW's losing the grip. And they're like, we're coming out with Goldberg and Hogan on free TV. Good move, bad move. Great moment. Like, you look back in hindsight, it's one of the best moments in the Monday Night War. But business-wise, this one pay-per-views were really important. That's a big match that they just gave away for nothing.
They could have schmozzed it a whole lot more than what they did. I believe at the end of that, like Sid and Nash come out, I believe.
No, yeah, this was before that. This was you're a year later. We got Karl Malone and DDP coming out because they were going to that Bash at the Beach pay-per-view the next
right.
week.
I'm at the year later one.
Yeah, you're a year off there. You're close.
Same venue though, which is crazy. Honestly, because it was that same Nitro that, so they're going into the Bash there in January already. Did they do the finger poke?
That was the next year as well.
Okay, so they
because
haven't
Goldberg dropped the belt at the end of that year, right?
with the cattle prod. Yeah.
So we're in 98 here, and then Goldberg drops the belt the end of 98 with the cattle prod, and then they go to the finger poke of doom.
Honestly, the spectacle of that Nitro for that match, I think made a lot of sense, but you're right. In terms of like pay-per-view, like they gave that away.
Like Goldberg didn't need the belt at that period because he
No,
was the US
'cause he was
champ.
the US champ because he killed Raven for it.
Yeah, and then he beat Scott Hall earlier in the night to get to Hogan.
And that was just a whatever. Yeah, I remember that.
See, but then they did these weird pay-per-views, like because they did Bash at the Beach, where the main event was Hogan and Rodman against Malone and DDP, and then the next month was Jay Leno and DDP against Hogan.
That's my favorite pay-per-view, Road Wild 98.
Road Wild, yeah.
Which,
but you can't put the belt on Goldberg at Road Wild and Jay Leno's like a massive TV star, so I get why you want him to fight.
Honestly, no, they made the right call.
I think they did too.
They made the right call because the biggest TV box office is having the WCW, the face of it, which is Hogan, on the talk shows. You have and there's nothing bigger than this. The power forwards on the two teams in the NBA finals that year.
Crazy.
Wrestling in a match. That would be like LeBron and Kevin Durant in a UFC fight.
It's unreal, right?
If they were also in the finals. Like
Rodman was skipping practice.
Rodman skipped practice to be NWO for life. Because when you are NWO, it's for life. Rodman knows what's up. And no, that's the biggest business. They go into Hog Wild, which Sturgis in 98, nuts.
People shit on those pay-per-views. I don't understand why.
They are my favorite pay-per-views. Sturgis, all of those shows. The motorcycles revving. It's a total vibe. And that's what wrestling was. That's exactly what wrestling was. Man, you got me fired up talking about this, but they made the right call.
I think so too. I didn't at the time. I did not at the time.
Because Goldberg takes that strap and Hogan goes and plays Celebrity Feud.
You know what? Though?
It is.
They could have done it at the Great American Bash the month before.
But the Georgia Dome 50,000, those are 50,000 people that are never forgetting that they saw their guy, Goldberg from Georgia, win.
True. And they're also popping a huge TV rating, hoping to keep the fans the next week.
Absolutely.
Here's my armchair booking then 20 years later or whatever, how many years it is later.
All right.
The main event of the Great American Bash was shit. It was like Piper and Savage against Hogan and against Hogan and Brett. And I think
Yeah.
there was like a singles match like twisted in there somehow. It was terrible, terrible booking.
NWO Brett at this point.
NWO Brett, yeah, it was awful. It was an awful pay-per-view. Awful
Brett should
main
have
event.
never joined the NWO.
No, that was terrible. The booking of
That's-
Bret Hart and WCW, we could do an hour on how bad
We
that
could,
was.
yeah, we could go for years on that. Oh my.
And I will give a spoiler because next week Mike and I'm doing the top 7 biggest moments that caused the failure of WCW.
Yeah,
The booking of Bret Hart is on my list as of right
Good.
now.
Yeah.
Of right now.
it's probably number 1. How do you fumble you
Well,
fumble him off the screw
I
job?
won't tell you where it is, but it's on there because the
Okay.
guy was the biggest star of wrestling at the time.
Stay tuned, folks,
Stay
for next
tuned.
week.
Subscribe while you're at it.
I'll be listening on my way to another podcast recording next Thursday. So
Yeah, all right. Cheating on us, eh?
I W word myself out for podcasts. What can I say?
You know what? Plug it. You want to plug it?
Professional wrestling. Search it on YouTube. Search
Who's-
Van Landon, Professional Wrestling.
Did you do one with this already?
Yes, this is the studio.
Is this like the studio? Yeah, man. Props to, I don't know who this guy is, but Professional Wrestling, you got a good setup, man. Your shit looks good, and I'll put you over on my show.
There we go. That's what it is. It's
Spread
looking
the love.
hot.
Spread the
It's
love
looking
on Count It Out, man. Spread the love on Count It Out. But my fantasy booking, what if you do Hogan and Goldberg at the Great American Bash instead? Because Goldberg fought Conan. It was his 100th victory. That's how they're building that.
Hey dog,
Right?
yeah.
So you do Hogan, you get the pay-per-view buy rate with Hogan and Goldberg rematch at the Georgia Dome.
Because the bash was the month before, you said?
The Great American Bash was June, and then
Yeah.
Bash at the Beach is July.
And then Sturgis is August.
Put
Yeah.
Goldberg, you either put Goldberg over or you have Goldberg win by DQ. Either way, whatever you want to do.
Oh my God. I'm not against that one bit. Because, yeah, he defeats K-Dog, retains the U.S. title.
All that match led to was a
Whatever.
heel turn for Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude.
In the suit. Oh boy. The rematch at the Georgia Dome
Because then at least you get money, like you make money off the match, and you still get the TV moment as well.
of a Goldberg victory over Hogan on TV.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. They would have had to figure out how to get Goldberg there sooner. Hey, giving him the U.S. title, I thought was a complete waste of time. I don't know why they had to feed Raven to him. That
Yeah,
was
Raven could have used like a little run with that because he it was only a 1 day run for Raven.
Raven was so over, and like they just let him
And
fizzle out.
He beat DDP for the
Yeah.
belt the night before.
Yeah,
And DDP was so over. Like to beat DDP at that time was a pretty big deal.
the people's champion.
Yeah, DDP, kind of a friend of the show. Check out the archives, right?
Hey, there you go. One of my favorite interviews. Get
It
a lot
was
of
cool.
lot
man.
of motivational quotes from DDP in that interview. He's
I'll
so wise.
pull the curtain back on DDP a little bit, and Mike's gonna yell at me because I've said pull the curtain back 100 times tonight, and he will discipline me on that off air.
Mike, I'm pulling the curtain back right now and saying it was
DDP
great seeing you this weekend.
Yeah, you know what? Let's scrap the DDP story. Mike brought his kid to Barrie Wrestling, and his
It was
kid
his
got
first
to
show.
first wrestling show. Did he see? Sent you the video clip? Did you see that?
Yes, he
Or
did.
of him coming and giving you the high five
Giving me the high five.
and a big smile on his face after. Finn had a great time. I shouted him out on the microphone as well. I went into business for myself.
Hey, good. We got it. We got it.
Every now and then. I don't abuse my privileges. You know, everyone always like Diamond Jim always gives me shit, and a couple other people give me shit. They say I should plug the podcast more when I'm in the ring. And I just don't. I don't. That's not my play. Like I try to mention it once like a show because like that's the deal, right? I ring announce to get the promotion. That's the deal, right? So I try, and most of the time I don't even mention it. But like I'll try to squeak it in. My funniest moment, well, right when we got the Cottage Springs friendship, I announced it in the ring. No pop at all. Like nothing. People were just like, all right, bring out the next guy's TCO. Like, all right, guys. Sorry, I was really happy for this one. They did not give two fucks about me working with Cottage Springs. Like, we want to boo Kyle Boone. Get him out here.
Oh my goodness. Hey,
But yeah, I don't know. That was my fun moment.
I
Okay. Whoa, sorry, go ahead.
it's just they need Cottage Springs they need to taste it for themselves to really
Right?
get where we're coming
I think
from.
we'll talk to Sean and I know we're working with the Muskoka drink there, but maybe we'll start serving Cottage Springs a bit. Yeah, right. Can you imagine? I want to talk about one more topic because I didn't realize what time it is and we could talk all night. But let's talk about what Mike and Adam talked about a lot last week, and that's TNA working with NXT.
I mean, that's the best. We could talk about that. I love the fact that Jordan Grace is representing TNA on NXT. NXTNA, TNA. I love that. um it's so cool to see promotions work together because it's something that it's like seeing back in the day the X-Men on Spider-Man or vice
Yeah,
versa.
great call.
It's
They
the
did that. They did the crossover.
it's crossover appeal to that extent. Seeing, Avengers like scenarios of wrestling, and we got to see Jordan Grace. If you're watching this today, we know next week we're gonna see something happen with the Battle Royal. My fingers are crossed that the walking weapon Josh Alexander gets his hands on some NXT TV
Yeah,
time
I
because
think
he
we
is
see Josh or Speedball win that battle royal. It's got to be one of the two, right?
hey, Speedball's a great shout as well. Um, and just this whole partnership, everyone wants to talk Forbidden Door and New Japan AEW, but if this is WWE's way to clap back, like we know they always would, and to partner with TNA, which AEW has done in the past, but it didn't really go anywhere. Um, I would love to see more crossover appeal, especially with the developmental brand NXT. I think there's so much room for their stars to intermix with TNA, and rising tides will elevate both of these ships. And I think it's showing with the
Yes.
sort of fan reaction.
I think this is a great move for NXT. And
Yes.
this might be an unpopular take on this, but I think NXT needs this just as much as TNA does.
Yes.
Because not to take away from NXT at all, but if you look at the history of the company, I would say that it's in their biggest downward swing. Maybe not from an in-ring standpoint, because it's always solid in the ring. I think I don't watch a lot of it, but from a superstar or an interest standpoint, like a lot of people
Yes.
are not as interested as that. As it doesn't feel can't miss anymore.
We
And
talk about franchises, and NXT is definitely in a rebuild franchise at the moment with
absolutely,
all of their stars. You're absolutely right about that.
but
And for
business
TNA,
wise, well, go ahead, go ahead.
for TNA to be at that sort of same point with the name change, and they're just sort of gaining their traction back under the new under TNA. And for NXT to be in that rebuild portion, you're absolutely right. The collaboration is so mutually beneficial, but hey, we have established names on TNA coming from a main roster-esque perspective of that company, now intermixing with what has always been the rookie territory NXT. It's elevating them, it's elevating TNA. It's great for both of them. I love it. It's awesome.
Thinking from a business standpoint right now, it's not a secret. that this is a contract year for a guy like Speedball Mike Bailey. And Josh's contract, I don't think he has a lot of time left either. If I'm the WWE, this could be a good opportunity to be like, oh yeah, TNA. But let's put Speedball in a title match on a takeover and get a look at these guys firsthand. How do you carry yourself backstage? What's your in-ring presence like? How does the crowd take to you? And this could be a heavy swing because I don't think that Josh or Speedball are going to resign. That's just my opinion. I have nothing to base it on. I don't know them. I've never spoken to either one of them unless it's been, hey, how you doing at a show or for a media call for TNA wrestling. We've done media calls with both of them. But I just think that Speedball is ready for the next step, and I think he has a lot of he's done such a great job of building his brand that he's going to be, obviously not Will Ospreay level of we need to sign you, but he's right there. Like he's done it. And Josh is Josh. Like
Yeah,
he's unreal, right?
absolutely.
What
A
a
heavyweight
way,
star wherever he lands.
100%. And what a way
Yeah.
for the WWE to maybe get first dibs on these guys.
Hey, I know William Regal's gonna be scouting these guys every
Well,
chance he gets.
hey man, they're in the system now. This is an opportunity for not just for WWE to be like, hey, we're working, like we have a bond now, but it's also a chance for them to show these guys this is what we have to offer. Look at our performance center. These are our crowds. These are our shows. There's the main roster. Hi, I'm Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
a chance for the WWE to be like, you need to sign with us before Tony Khan can even throw his money at them.
Hey, that's good strategy as far as I'm concerned. And if AEW is not calling them to partner for Forbidden Door type promotional stuff, absolutely WWE stepping in to take that role is incredible. And look at the WWE's roster. AJ Styles, Bobby Roode. Look at behind the scenes. You got Abyss working behind the scenes. Like,
Shane Helms was in there in TNA for a long time. Davari,
absolutely.
right?
And don't like Mickey James, Kurt Angle, half their careers there. The Dudley Boys, half their careers there. Booker T. That tape library is valuable.
100% it is.
And now that, you know, there are people who are working with TNA on the WWE side of things, you got to wonder, like, is that something that WWE would look to acquire? And it'd be
We got
crazy. Be
we
crazy if they got it.
we got Jordan Grace. She's got the open challenge at the Against All Odds. Is that I think that's what the show is, Against All Odds.
That's this
What
weekend.
right?
Yes.
It's got to be a WWE person, right?
I can't see it not at
Who
this point.
if you got the book, who you booking?
I don't think it'll be Roxy
No, I don't
because
think
that
so.
match just happened, but
Like Jordan's
that
got to get a win back, right?
exactly. That little emo girl Tatum Paxley, I think she got involved with the match on NXT, and I think she made her intentions clear that she wants the title. I wouldn't be surprised if her and her eyeshadow show up to Against All Odds, cash in that open challenge.
I'm gonna go with what I think everybody wants to see in the obvious choice, and I think we see Natty,
That would be awesome.
right? They've been teasing this match for so long now, and WWE kind of owes TNA one. Hey, we had Jordan in the Rumble, big moment. Hey, we had Jordan in NXT, big moment. Natty is Dolph Ziggler. She can lose to me and be fine, right? Like Natty can lose to anybody and be fine. Natty is at a point in her career where she wants, I think she's hungry for these experiences now. She's been in WWE for so long that I think the opportunity to go to TNA for a match, I think she's gonna push for it. I think we get Natty and Grace,
Hey, I'm not going to complain if that's the match. And if
right?
I'm wrong, yeah, absolutely. Let's see it.
Jordan Grace also making a strong contender for many moments in my year-end awards and for Wrestler of the Year. Like Jordan Grace, fucking tip of the cap to you.
She's doing great stuff right now.
Super nice woman too. Super nice. We had the privilege to interview her one time, and Mike was so excited for this. And I think we've told this on air before, but Mike was so excited for this interview, and he gave her this big entrance, like big intro. 3 minutes into the interview, Mike lost his Wi-Fi. Gone for the whole interview. Jordan, such a nice woman, DMs him after and says, "Hey, I'm really sorry that happened." And
Oh,
sent Mike a nice message.
oh, geez.
See, wrestling can be nice sometimes.
Hey, we try to be. We try to be.
All right, I think we got to start taking this home. So before we take it home, I pose the question to you. We're talking about the world of wrestling right now and the things we love. What's your favorite thing going on in the world of wrestling right now? What are you loving to watch?
Right now, the thing that I've been really enjoying. Oh, what is something? Honestly, probably Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, because they entertain me at all points in time that they're
Wow.
on my screen. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna talk about like my favorite active thing going right now, the Elite storyline,
I
those
think we just
buffoons.
added 20 minutes onto our show here because I need to discuss this.
Oh, geez, those buffoons continue to entertain me with every little thing that they do. They are complete antagonists. I just finished their book,
Is it good? I
and
have it. I haven't started yet.
it's amazing, and it's a very inspiring tale as well. Just about
It
betting on
is.
yourself and just keeping moving forward. One thing that the Young Bucks are always good at, and they've always been good at, and if you think back, you will remember how good they were at it, was always being at the point of interest when it comes to whether it's their controversies, whether it's their popularity. They've always been exactly where they need to be. And if everyone's going to boo them because of CM Punk and because of all this other nonsense, and they want to jump right into it and give it right back to them, give them something to hate, that's my Young Bucks. And I
Yeah.
love
I think it's wild that they worked Bradford, Ontario's Carrot Fest one year as well. That
it.
blows my mind.
That's wild.
Um, I, I want to like this version of the Elite so much more than I do. And it's not their fault. I just feel like that ever since they laid out Tony Khan, I was like, this is the greatest thing AEW's ever done. I just feel like the follow-up has been a little lackluster after it. Really liked Anarchy in the Asylum. Thought that was a great, very fun match. I loved a lot of spots in it. Now we're getting Blood and Guts. I think it's too soon for Blood and Guts. I feel like they could have dragged that out a little bit more, but I do like the Young Bucks. I'm not a hater. I do. They entertain me more than they annoy me.
Hey,
Sometimes they annoy me, and not like in the, oh, I want you to get beat up. Like the guys, like, come on, you're fucking EVPs. Like, tighten it up a little bit. Like, I get annoyed sometimes in the professional aspect of it. But you're right. These guys, you cannot take away what they've done. They are trailblazers. Like between them, Kenny and Cody, they launch a fucking company.
yeah, they did.
It's incredible, like what they've done. You can't take away from them. They're not my favorite thing in wrestling right now, though. I feel like we could be getting more out of what they're doing. Like they're kind of rehashing. I'm getting McMahon Helmsley era vibes from them,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it could be done edgier. I feel like there's like I feel like they need to take the McMahon Helmsley era and like make it have sex with the NWO. And that's what the Elite should be right now.
I'm still waiting for them to add Sammy Guevara to the faction.
You think he goes in?
Absolutely. He's the lightning rod.
He is.
That's
You, th-
exactly who should be in that.
you think they should add another person to the faction?
Absolutely. It should
I
be
like the
Sin
four.
Cara.
I like the four, man. I don't know. Sammy doesn't, I don't feel the like, where's the connection? Like, I know why all four of those guys are working together.
True.
Sammy just feels like, hey, let's put Buff Bagwell in the NWO.
Hey, Buff definitely has the stuff, and that
Did
is a
he
great
though?
comparison.
Did he
That
though? Because we put Buff in the NWO and then the floodgates opened up and WCW died.
Well, I can't wait to see who the potential Scott Norton gets added to the AEW roster
It should
for the
just be
Elite.
Scott Norton.
Yeah, it should
That
just be
guy's the
Scott
best.
Norton. If they
Love
want to
me.
start winning some matches, hey, there's your secret weapon.
Love me some Scott Norton. I'll say mine real quick and then we'll take her home because holy shit, we are going Broadway here. I'm pulling a mic. We're pulling a Mike and Adam here. I always give Mike and Adam shit for going too long. Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan, love it. I love it.
Okay, here we
And
go.
this has to lead to a custody of Dominic ladder match. I don't know. I just think it should. I think it would be such a great throwback if Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley have a ladder match for Dominic Mysterio.
I am not against that one bit, and I think that is a hilarious idea as well. I why it's not my favorite currently, because the Elite, of course, is, as I just stated, is because I feel like they're doing a great job. They're teasing us each week just with a little bit more, a little bit more. She's doing a little bit more each and every week. And they're teasing and teasing and teasing. And I don't know when Rhea's expected to be back, but when that bubble bursts, I think we're gonna start cooking with fire then. But until we're there, I'm just gonna watch from the outskirts and get told all about it.
You know what I think we're gonna get? I don't know
What's
a lot. I don't know, and I gotta rewatch just to make sure I saw it correctly. You know, did you see Raw at all or anything about Raw? Any clips?
I saw what's up. Yeah.
She got the hotel room key, giving it to Dom.
Yes.
You see who took the hotel room key?
I didn't.
Finn Balor snaked it off the table.
Ooh.
Do
Evil
we
Fergal?
do we get a Finn Morgan Finn Balor and Liv Morgan team and Finn turns on Judgment Day and pairs off with Priest?
Ooh. And then Dom and Rhea go their separate ways.
You got Dom and Rhea and Priest together and Finn and Liv Morgan and if they keep the belt on Damian Priest, I don't know if they will or not. I think you
I,
have to put it on Drew at this point, right?
or Gunther.
Yeah, but Drew's got the big match at Clash at the Castle this weekend.
And didn't he not win it last time because it was against Roman?
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
think,
so
and
this is
then you
Drew's
got
big win.
Drew and Punk's a big money match, and that should have the belt for it.
SummerSlam.
I think so.
Yeah.
Unless Punk costs Drew the title, and then they have like a gimmick match at SummerSlam.
Dang, so Gunther's just going to be work rating for the next couple months.
I think till the Rumble. I think he wins the Rumble.
Hey, I'm into that. Cody did it
too.
twice, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's time for Gunther to do it.
Right, Gunter. I don't need Gunter and Cody at WrestleMania 41.
Start him at number 1 and then do that.
They did that last year. No, I'm done with start him at number 1. I hate it.
I don't, because he's
They
the
do it
most
every
impressive
year.
guy.
But they
Oh,
do it
he's so
every
good
year.
though.
They do
All
it
right.
every year. I get
Hey.
it. I love the, I watch those old Rumbles. I grew up watching Rick Martel go 23 minutes and everyone was like, holy fuck, Rick Martel went 23 minutes. Like, love the long runs, but they've ruined the gimmick for me.
Have him come out 30.
Every year they come out. Have Gunter come out 30 and just dummy everybody in 45 seconds.
I'm into that.
See ya.
That's accurate.
Peace.
That's what he would do.
You just dust them all and then have him and like, I don't know, whoever this like have like I like when they do the final two guys work for like 5-6 minutes.
I always like the Elimination Chamber that gets you to Mania as well.
Yeah, Chamber's good. That's a good they've made that into the perfect pay-per-view
The
spot.
perfect 3. Those 3 line up so nicely.
Yeah, man. Wrestling's awesome.
Wrestling's sick.
That was the whole point of the show.
We love wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
We love wrestling. We love the Three Pistols Championship. We love the Tragically Hip. We love Cottage Springs. Ah, fuck, we even love you, Mike, even though you're not here this week. That's my fault, by the way, that Mike's not here this week. But, shit happens. Next week, we've got big WCW show.
And I'm not here for it.
No, but you'll be listening.
I will be.
Hit the subscribe button, everybody. Van Landon, subscribe. He's a champion. You could be a champion.
Van Landon on everything.
Hit
That's
it
how
up.
you find me.
Plug it up there, champ.
At the Van Landon everywhere. Just
And
find me.
I got nothing else, man. I mean, I could keep talking to you for hours, but I mean, it's late.
We went Broadway, ladies and gentlemen.
We pulled an out of him, Mike. Mike's never gonna let me hear the end of it. Well, on behalf of the brand new Barrie Wrestling Three Pistols champion, Van Landon, my name is Tyler, and you have been counted out.